So we're here at round 3. It's nice weather this weekend. How are you feeling?
Absolutely, absolutely. We really just want to get back on it now. With the Landau being such a disaster for us, we're just starting a new learning curve, we could say, and just hope for some better results today. Definitely.
And talking about results, where are you aiming for this weekend?
We like to be second, third or fourth. We like to be there. If we can qualify second or third, that puts us in a better state for the racing, of course, but yeah, that's where we like to be.
And well, obviously the dominant force in the past couple of seasons has been Mick WILLIAMS. Do you think there's any chance of catching up to them?
Not this weekend, no. You never say never, but Mick is just one on his own, I'm afraid, and we've got to leave him do it at the moment.
And well, obviously the Minimoto Sidecars is something completely different that you don't see anywhere else. And why don't you tell us, what's it like riding one of these?
It's like nothing else. I've ridden a motorbike, I've a F2 stock car, and once you get on one of these, you're an alien in an alien's world, and that's what it is. It is totally alien, and you have to have it as part of you, and that's the only way you can ride it. Let it become part of you.
And obviously on the sidecars, there's 2 riders fitting on such a small motorcycle. How much of an input does the passenger make?
95%. He is 95% of what we do, and he's not only 95% of what we do, it's his commitment to what we do as well. Without him, you haven't got a chance.
And then finally, what is your aim for this season? What's your end goal?
We'd like to finish second or third in the championship if we could. That's where we'd like to be. You know, that's where we want to aim for.
Well, best luck for this weekend, and I wish you well.
Thank you ever so much. Thank you.
So we're here with Mr. Mini F1 Sidecars himself, Mick WILLIAMS. Mick, great to see you again. How are you feeling looking forward to round 3?
Yeah, really looking forward to it. Luckily enough the weather's going to be good, so yeah, all good really.
And why don't you explain to us the complexities of riding a Mini F1 Sidecar? I mean, obviously you're the dominant force in Britain in this category and have been for quite some time now. And well, many of our viewers may be not too familiar with this. It's almost a niche of a niche within motorcycle races. Why don't you just explain a little bit about it and what it takes?
Well, like I say, I mean, at the end of the day, the passenger has a hell of a lot of input. A lot of people don't realise exactly how much input they have. If they aren't doing their job, then literally the outfit will just go straight on. So yeah, it's just teamwork, and once you gel, then it's all good really. But yeah, it is definitely an art to it, and it takes some getting used to. But it's all good fun. That's why we're doing it. So.
And of course, and I mean, obviously you guys seem to have mastered that art. I think you've won every race for the past few seasons now, at least. And I mean, you know, how much work goes into it? I mean, surely at that point, a lot of people would be thinking, you know, oh, let's just take it easy now, we've got it in the bag. Do you guys still put in a lot of work into this?
Yeah, I mean, we still enjoy it. I think that's the main thing. The whole thing is we're on the track, so it's the best thing to do is to go as quick as you can. That's the whole idea of it, and that's the sort of way we go about stuff, really. Maintain the outfit as best we can, but something's always going to break or fall off. That's just the nature of the game, isn't it? So yeah, that's it really.
Well, I mean, I would say best of luck this weekend, but honestly, I'm not sure you really need it. Well, have great time out there, and well, see you at the end of the weekend.
Yeah, thank you very much. Cheers. Thank you.
Let's go! The official BSB Partner Series. This is FAB-Racing.
Sidecars they're an art form of their own. And I mean, you know, the Mini F1 Sidecars, it's the niche within the niche, as I like to call it, you know, as it's, you know, it's such a small kind of community within a very small community, and obviously built by the riders themselves as well. You know, it's a really, you know, tough job to do, and a lot of the dedication goes into it. Of course, you know, sidecars, it's such an intriguing sector of the sport, and obviously it's a very dangerous sector of the sport as well, unfortunately. You know, of course, the recent events at the Isle of Man TT will put a test down. Of course, our thoughts go out to all of the families that have been affected by that. And these are Mini F1 sidecars, well, they don't quite have the speed, shall we say, of a full-blown sidecar. You know, it's the lack of size that's more dangerous than anything, because you're essentially stood on a little metal plate that's not even a metre square. It's, you know, I mean, it's ridiculously small what the passengers are riding on. And, you know, the passengers, they're the ones who are really putting in the work, because they're the ones hopping over the bike and doing this and doing that and everything. And it is a really, really tough job to have. And a lot of effort goes into it. And of course, you mentioned, could anyone else stop Mick Williams? I mean, he's won every single race for the past few seasons in a row now. Maybe today's the day where something changes, who knows? But it is Mick Williams that goes from the pole position. The GREENSTREET moving off alongside them from P2 with the KEATES bike in P3, the 666 machine, and the Bailey machine, the 369 machine in P4. Mark Parker on the 230 goes off in P5 with Chris Impey in P6. And a new bike here, the 111 Kyle Masters. He starts at the back in P7 as the riders head off on their formation lap. Of course, there is Mick Williams, Mr. Mini F1 Sidecar, and his passenger as well. Of course, there's no guarantee he could win, but if I was a betting man, he'd be the one I'd be putting my money on. But of course, anything can happen in FAB-Racing, anything can happen in motorsport, and who knows what's going to happen in race 1 of the Mini F1 Sidecars.
Yeah, we would just wait for these riders to head down to the starting grid for what I'm sure will be a great race. GREENSTREET will be wanting to get off that line straight away and make the best start possible. GREENSTREET being the number 90. It's quite a modern style, actually, looking sidecar compared to Mick Williams, which is more of the older look. These bikes are all built by them, and every single one is unique in its own way. So we wait for the final riders just to make their way. As you can see, Roger, the race director and start marshal, waiting at the lights as all the riders start to look at the lights as Roger gets ready to put his finger on the button to put the lights on, then the lights off. They all look up to the lights. Lights are on and lights are off, and we go racing for the sidecars, and GREENSTREET has made quite a good start, but KEATES looks to read the way, and KEATES trying already outside at turn 1, but GREENSTREET has the inside line. I'm on the inside line for the next corner, but it's KEATES in second place with Mick Williams leading the way.
I almost thought there was contact. They went tried to go 3 wide into turn 1 at Degnar 1 as it's called. I believe it's named after the corner of Suzuka. And a bit of a judder through the hairpin and up on 2 wheels. Oh my goodness me, 2 wheels there for the KEATES machine, the 666. That is not what you want to be doing on a 3-wheel machine. Nearly going end over end. They managed to keep it going, and they managed to just about hold about onto P3. But as you can see, they are really committed through those corners, aren't they? Popping up everywhere they go. But the GREENSTREET's managing to lock into P2 as a result of that. Vince Bailey as well, chasing behind the 369 bike. But it will be Mick Williams leading the way on lap 1, the GREENSTREET in P2. And then the KEATES machine after that really strong start, just making a little mistake, nearly going over. And they're P3, but they've also surpassed at the fastest lap of the race. So I think the timing screen just had a moment. Of course, it is the first lap. The fastest lap will approach shortly afterwards. But that could have been a very, very scary incident. And as well, going 3 wide into Degnar 1 down at turn 1, I thought there was going to be an accident there. They did very well to all avoid each other. I mean, these things, obviously, they're very, very wide. Even though they're mini sidecars, they are wide. They're big old beasts in Minibike racing terms anyway. And so they did really well to avoid each other. And I'm sure that 666 machine, counting their lucky stars, that they haven't got a sore head and a very broken bike after nearly flipping.
Yeah, I mean, it was a close moment from them, and one thing you can see as they head round the right-hander is just how close the rider gets to the ground. I mean, the helmet's almost scraping off the ground, and they're practically hugging the driver. It's such a tight space, and that's just to save on some weight and make it as aerodynamic as possible. But just 5 laps to go in this race, it comes past so quick. And one thing you'll also notice is that these riders have no knee sliders on, obviously, because they do not get their knee down. But the passengers do have knee sliders on their bum, as whenever they're turning left, they pull their bars out and then they scrape. Well, they can sometimes scrape their bum on the ground, so it's just to save their levers and not get tugged by the ground. So just 5 laps to go. It's still GREENSTREET in second, who's the closest contender to Mick Williams, who has set the fastest lap of the race with a 57.372. But Jacob KEATES, it's still in 3rd place. I mean, they can't really be too disappointed after that first lap drama. But on your screen right now, you have the number 230, I believe. So just 4 laps to go in this race. GREENSTREET, as you can see on your screen, in the modern style sidecar, both of them obviously being family members. It's such trust that they have, which sometimes is why you see quite a lot of families running sidecars together, is because you already have that internal trust because they are a family member. You've had that trust since you were born, basically.
I mean, it's also, I think part of it comes down to anybody who's not born into it looks and goes, that's mental, I'm staying well away from that, and going and riding and driving normal things. That's why you do see a lot of a sidecar, the kind of family things. I mean, I come from a sidecar family myself, and my granddad actually never let my uncle step foot in a sidecar because he thought it was too dangerous. So my uncle went and did karting instead. He's like, no, not letting you do that, sorry. It is completely insane, frankly, that someone is willing. Obviously, in Mini F1 sidecars, yes, you're not hitting 200 odd miles an hour, but you're hanging off a very, very small kind of space, and you're sticking your head inches from the ground, next to other cars. It is one of the most ludicrous forms of motorsport you can find on the planet. It is. I mean, obviously, sidecars have existed, for a long time. The idea of a sidecar in itself, it's not like an actual proper, road-going sidecar. They don't really exist anymore. They've kind of fallen out of fashion. But sidecar racing, still very, very popular, still very much around. And even then, you look at the people that get into it and go, are you a bit mental? Because I honestly have no idea. I mean, part of the joy of being a FAB-Racing commentator is you get to see sometimes people get in sidecars. Some of our FAB-Racing commentators in the past have had a go in sidecars, including people like Tristan Finocchiaro, who we were looking at earlier in the pit bikes race, and he's ridden international level motorcycle races, and he was scared completely to the bone. Like he was as the passenger was sat there completely rigid. But you can go and find the video on YouTube somewhere. It is. I mean, I want to say it's fun. I obviously feel bad for him at the same time because it's such a unique experience. As we look at the leader, Mr. Mini F1 Sidecar himself, Mick WILLIAMS, who is once again running away. 6.7 seconds is the gap. As a passenger doing a perfect demonstration of what I mean by leaving nothing on the table, hanging out on the bike. All it takes is a mistake from the passenger, or indeed Mick WILLIAMS, for both of these two to potentially get hurt in an accident. Again, that is the trust and the level of responsibility that comes with racing sidecars, and it's Mick WILLIAMS who is once again dominating the race, coming around Mini Rossi now and onto the final lap of this event. There you can see the last lap flag out, the yellow flag with the black stripe on the left-hand side of your screen, and it's Mick WILLIAMS once again. The rumours in the paddock state that he actually gives back his medals and his championship trophies because he wins so much. He may as well save FAB-Racing a bit of dosh, and may as well just let them give it to him next time out, and the next time, and the next time, and so on and so forth. So good is this pairing on the sidecar. Obviously, the sidecar is brilliant, but the rider and the passenger are brilliant as well. Mick WILLIAMS has got half a lap to go to secure yet another victory. I honestly couldn't tell you the last time that he didn't win a race. Genuinely, it has been absolutely phenomenal as Mick WILLIAMS comes around the final section now. Won every race last season. He's already won every race so far this season, and he looks to cap off another brilliant weekend, opening with a victory. It's Mick WILLIAMS who rounds the final corner, and the checkered flag waves for an absolutely dominant performance from the number 26 machine. It's another victory for Mick WILLIAMS, but who else was it going to be on the top step? The GREENSTREET will come home with a very respectable P2. And of course, best of the rest, but they are no match for that number 26. Vince Bailey on the 369. He's going to come home a great P3 for him there with the 666 machine. After that nearly flip early on, will come home in P4. Mark Park will be P5 with Chris Impey P6, and Carl Masters in their first event. They round out the pack, but of course it takes a bit of time getting used to this in a racing environment. So of course it's all about living and learning. So to even finish the race is a very, very respectable performance there from Kyle Masters to round out the finishing places in P7. But it's Mick WILLIAMS once again gives a wave.
On the road to MotoGP, this is FAB-Racing.
These sidecars, they run it tight on fuel. I mean, it's not a big fuel tank in any of these mini bikes, but with the sidecars, there's a bit more weight on it, and it uses a bit more fuel, and really just trying to save on weight. They don't have massive fuel tanks, so it can be sometimes tight, and that is why we only have one warm-up lap, and some tracks no warm-up laps actually if we have a red flag or anything along that lines. But the riders just coming to the end of, riders and drivers I should say, coming to the end of their first of their warm-up lap, ready to start the second race of the weekend, first race of the day. Mick WILLIAMS pulling up to the usual spot, pole position. They're going to be feeling great, but Green Streets, they will have some part in their head that is thinking we can beat them. But there's KEATES, of course, you know, big moment yesterday, as we said, we started in third. They'll be wanting to try change McWilliams' dominance as well. Everyone will be wanting to, as they all wait for the lights. There's Roger Keys on your screen. Race control, I see lights are going to come on, lights are on, and we wait for them to go, lights are out, and we go racing. It looks like Green Streets has made a great start, actually, but Williams is leading the way to the first corner, and KEATES has also went around the outside of Green Street. And KEATES looks like they're on it straight away. Can KEATES do anything? Can KEATES mess up McWilliams' rhythm? It does not look like it so far, but KEATES will be pushing. They'll be giving it absolutely everything, as we know that KEATES do. KEATES puts on a great show every single round. We were talking about yesterday, two-wheeled action, but they're looking behind them. They see that Green Streets is there. They may start to defend, and that's going to let McWilliams get away even more. But Williams leads the way from Green Street and KEATES.
What a great move there by the Green Streets, getting through as McWilliams shoots off into the distance once again. But yeah, great move by the Green Streets, sweeping round the outside through O'Rossi. Lovely stuff there as McWilliams comes through, holds hairpin down the bottom end of the track onto the main stretch. And this is where McWilliams is absolutely dominant. Of course, you know, in the fast stuff, you know, they're pretty good as well, but it's in the slow stuff where they're in an absolute class of their own. That bike is just so agile, it's so strong. But yeah, the Green Streets on to second, the 666 machine dropping down to third. But let's see if they can hold on to those podium places. Mark Parker behind as well. He's trying to hold on. But yeah, what a great start for that number 666. Sliding around the outside of the Green Streets on the number 90s. Round the outside of turn one. It was a really great start from them. A really nice move, of course, and able to hold on to that position. But that just goes to show, you know, it may not be, you know, their day in terms of race pace, but, you know, they've definitely got it on the start, you know. But with a bit of tinkering to the bike, you know, maybe one day they could be challenging further up.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, I think everyone would hope so. But Williams, they've been dominant for many years, as we've said, but there's so much class in this field. Although the lap times may not be the closest and the racing sometimes can get a little bit spaced out, it's so impressive to watch all these sidecar riders. I mean, look at them just turn. There's KEATES on your screen right now, going around the left hand of the rider, and then rider basically hugging the driver as they head over to the right. I mean, it's so impressive to watch. And the helmet coming through right-handers, the passenger, they get so close to the ground. You can just look at that. They get so close to the ground. They're using absolutely everything, because these are still mini bikes. These are bikes that are not really designed to be ridden by adults, and somehow we're making two riders fit on to one machine. It's really something special, and it's really something, as we've said before, it's the niche of the niche. That's why it's such a small grid. It's only 6 bikes, but it's still great to see so many riders out here enjoying the day, really.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's sometimes we have a little bit more, sometimes we have a little bit less, but it's usually the smallest grid here at FAB-Racing. But nonetheless, you know, these guys, they're turning in, week out, you know, always putting in the work. You know, even the guys who are at the back of the grid, you know, they're still putting up, still trying their hardest, still always working on the bikes. Because, you know, it's, sidecar. It's almost a bit like a cult, to be honest. You kind of get into it and you can't really escape. You know, it's its own intoxicating drug within the world of motorcycle racing, and Mini F1 Sidecars is its own intoxicating drug within the world of Minimoto racing. And it's just, you know, again, I don't know who dreamed up of a Mini F1 Sidecar. I mean, obviously, the 12 people out on track right now are probably very thankful. I'm sure everyone else is thinking, you guys must be mental, but you know, that's just part of the beauty of it. It's a way of, you know, just expressing your love for the, you know, sidecar while still being in, you know, kind of Minimoto racing, and still being able to turn up here at FAB-Racing and go around, you know, tiny little kart circuits, which normal sidecars wouldn't be allowed within a mile of them. Frankly, it'd be way too fast for places like this. So mini sidecars, and it's a way to have fun as well. I mean, at the end of the day, that is, you know, one of the big parts of FAB-Racing is, you know, obviously we pride ourselves here at FAB of, you know, being the place for junior riders to come and learn their trade, you know, learn their craft and start a motorcycle career. But all of these adults that, you know, keep coming back week after week, they're doing it for fun. You know, they're doing it for the community, and the Mini F1 Sidecars is part of that. It's their own little community within the paddock, and you can tell every single one of them absolutely loves what they do. There is a reason. You know, Mick WILLIAMS, I mean, for example, he's another 6 seconds up the road already with only a few laps left to go. But, you know, it's... they keep turning up. You know, Will Howarth earlier, he did a last to first because he was bored of being so fast. Mick Williams, he still does it. You know, all of these riders, even the guys at the back, they just absolutely love Mini F1 Sidecar racing.
Yeah, they do. And I mean, it's quite a similar attitude to what the senior Minimoto guys have towards the racing at FAB. They just do it because they love it in sidecars. Even at big sidecar racing, they all do it and they all put maximum commitment in, because whenever you race sidecars, you do it because you absolutely adore sidecars. I mean, whenever you have the fairings off these sidecars, anyone could appreciate it. Even these mini sidecars, everything's hand built, everything's one of one. We can't buy them on the market. These are built by them. These are or their family or their sponsors, anyone, but it's built by one person usually in their garage, and that is what racing really it has always been about. And it's great to see that it's still happening in this modern day, and the fact that we can still go Mini F1 Sidecar racing, although Mick WILLIAMS has been dominant for so much time, people still come and race just to try and beat them, or just to test themselves, or just to test their bikes that they've made because they love this. They do it because they love it. And Mick WILLIAMS now a 7.4 second lead over Green Street. I mean, it's something that we've been seeing for quite a long time now. Mick WILLIAMS and Green Street, top two, usually going at it. We've seen a couple of times Green Street trying to make a couple of passes on Mick WILLIAMS, but Mick WILLIAMS just drifting it around and just kind of showboating at this point.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, you know, if you fancy having a go on the Mini F1 Sidecar, if this looks like something that's appealing to you, any of our of the FAB activities looks fun as we head on to the final lap of the race. And of course, you can go and check out the FAB-Racing website, and you've got all the information you will ever need there on how to get involved. Or the FAB-Racing Facebook page is an even better one, as we've got some ding-dongs coming through the final corner there as well. But Mick WILLIAMS is, you know, again, another fantastic performance as he kind of comes around the middle part of the circuit, and it's absolutely brilliant to see there. Looks like I believe that Vince Bailey's just jumped. Yeah, Vince Bailey's just jumped in front of the KEATES, unfortunately for them. Russ Morgan was telling us last year, he's one of the guys on the KEATES bike, about how excited they were to bring their bike in for this year. And you know, it's not quite what they would have wanted. It's not quite as quick as they would have wanted, but it's progress nonetheless. And well, progress is more like domination for these guys out here. Mick WILLIAMS on the number 26. Who else would it be? It's going to be another absolutely dominant victory in the Mini F1 Sidecars. It's another win for the number 26 bike with Mick WILLIAMS at the helm. A brilliant, brilliant race once again. And that was absolutely fantastic. Green Street's bringing it home in second once again. The gap, 8.5 seconds. That's, you know, getting closer still, to be fair to the Green Streets. They're not quite there yet, but they're reeling them in. Another second place, that's great to see. And Vince Bailey should be bringing it home for P3 as well, I believe. Although the KEATES, right, they're telling the KEATES got up on two wheels again, coming out of the last corner, pushing too hard. And running wide as a result, because they were absolutely on it. I think there was actually a bit of argy-bargy, bit of a knocking on when Bailey got the overtake done. So I think actually maybe some potential damage to the frame of that bike. But hand up anyway, you know, it's all in good spirits really. And it's another dominant victory for Mick WILLIAMS. Great stuff.
Yeah, it was. I mean, Mick WILLIAMS, great dominant performance, as you mentioned, that 8.5 second lead. So it is getting slightly closer, it seems. I mean, Green Street just has to find slightly more. Their best lap was half a second off Mick WILLIAMS' best lap. So there's not a terrible amount, but over a race, it just widens and it widens. And Mick WILLIAMS, they may have a little bit left in the tank. You know, they've never really been pushed to their limits just yet. We actually have no clue what Mick WILLIAMS is capable of. We just see what they show us, but they will have some left in the tank whenever they need it, whenever a surprise competition comes along.
Absolutely. But another great performance there from Mick WILLIAMS and the number 26 machine. And yeah, there we go. Mark Parker and Chris IMPEY bringing it home in P5 and 6 as well. With a great ride from all of those involved. And that brings a conclusion to another great sidecar race.
Let's go! The official BSB Partner Series. This is FAB-Racing.
Going from the pole position, looking to absolutely dominate and continue his, I think it's 2-year-long winning streak now.
Yeah, 2 years completely unbroken. I don't think Mick WILLIAMS has lost a championship since 2013, so it's been quite a while for Mick WILLIAMS, and he keeps coming back to do it more because he absolutely loves this sport and loves mini sidecar racing. It's a real testimony just to how great you can build these sidecars. I mean, All of them are built by these individuals and usually by someone in a garage, which is just, it's exactly what racing is about. And exactly what racing is about is just doing it because you love it. And that is why Mick Williams does it, because he loves it. And although he's winning by such big margins, they're still enjoying it because they can play about on the bike with each other. And obviously, on the other hand, another front runner that we have is the GREENSTREETs. And the GREENSTREETs, it's a completely different looking sidecar. I think everyone can agree with that. It's a much more modern sidecar. I personally prefer it, actually. It's almost like a massive sidecar completely shrunk. I mean, everything about it just looks like it should be a big sidecar. But yeah, they work perfectly, and they're coming closer to Mick Williams over the past couple of seasons. And this weekend, certainly, I mean, it was only, what, a 6-8 second lead, something along that line. Yeah, so it looks like if GREENSTREETs can just make a good start and get out the gate perfect, and then get in front of Mick Williams, just slightly mess up the river, and we may have a race in our hands here. And it looks like GREENSTREETs are going to be the main people to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, Mick Williams is the dominant force in mini sidecar racing, as we've been told by Roger in our ears. Well, a 6-lap race is what we've been told in our ears, but I think a 6-lap race is what we're expecting anyway. As they get going on their formation lap, Mick Williams goes from the pole position. The GREENSTREETs, Jason and Leo alongside them. The KEATES bike, the 666 bike, is in P3 with Vince Bailey and P4. Mark Parker starts in P5 with Chris in P6. Kyle Masters, the new 111 rather bike, which is joined in this weekend. Not sure if they'll be coming out. They weren't in race 2, but if they do come out, they will be at the back of the grid in P7. So our timing screen is saying 6 laps, so that's a lap lopped off as we wait to go racing once again. And you have to see what happens. Of course, this was scheduled to be a 7-lap race, but of course, that red flag period, that was about an hour's out of the action, and you know, you can't really get we'll have to wait and see what's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a great race. I mean, I think that Mick Williams may have in the bag, but you never know. This is the thing about motorsport. Anything can literally happen. We're just going to have to wait and see. GREENSTREETs, all it takes is a great launch from them, and then boom, they're in the battle. And KEATES, we've seen all weekend just how fast they've been. They've been so fast, and they've put on a show for us here in the commentary box. Up in 2 wheels, 1 wheel mid-air, but we're waiting for the final couple sidecars to line up. Chris IMPEY just making final adjustments, and then we should be ready to go. We wait. The flag marshal comes off the grid. The lights are on, and the lights are off, and we go racing for the last race for the Mini F1 Sidecars. Mick Williams makes a great launch, but it's KEATES who tries to go round the outside of GREENSTREET over the first corner, and then they try to run outside. They've ran out of room. GREENSTREET's in second place, but KEATES will not stop there. KEATES will give it absolute everything to try and get in front of the GREENSTREETs. I mean, KEATES, they've been so spectacular. As we were saying, look at that, look how close they get to the ground. Some riders even having a knee slider on their bum, as you see there from Mick Williams, scraping the knee slider on the ground, and then through the right-handers, getting the helmet almost touching the ground. And it's exactly why we love sidecar racing. It's unusual, it's a bit different, and it's crazy to watch. I mean, watch this through the right-hander, helmet almost scraping along the ground. It's exactly why we watch this. I mean, it's 2 people with 1 mind, with 1 machine. And we were speaking to Mick Williams at the start of the weekend, and Mick Williams told us that this sidecar basically is 95% of the passenger that puts in the work, and that's great to hear. I mean, it's so impressive with what they're doing, and the amount of trust that you need to have in your passenger, because without the passenger, you simply cannot make it around the corner, especially not at the lap times that we're doing here in the Mini F1 Sidecars. I mean, KEATES, for example, doing a 103, that would be frankly impossible without the teamwork that they're putting in. One person, of course, controlling the controls, the throttle, the brake, while then the passenger getting the thing turned. It's almost similar, if you think about it, to a normal motorcycle. You shift your body weight to get the bike let over, while in the sidecars, you shift your body weight to change the weight distribution and get them around the corner. And it's immense trust, and the KEATES going over the curb there, doing what they do best, that is putting on a show.
Absolutely. I think the amount of times we've seen them on 2 wheels this weekend actually outnumbers the amount of time we've seen them on 3. Strangely enough, they do like to get a little bit out of shape, shall we say. as they keep going around. Currently in P3, that number 666 machine has I believe it's that bike that has a bit of a rude word on the back of it. It's like driven by Mad. Yeah, it is that bike. I won't repeat the second one, obviously. It starts with a B. I'll say that much. That just about sums up Mini F1 Sidecar, really. They're all just mad. Regular sidecar racing is insane enough. I mean, I say this race after race, week after week, but Mini F1 Sidecars, it's like, take that, yeah, slow it down a little bit, but then make it really, really small. You've got no space to fit on the bike, and then you've got to go around. It's just insane, and it's so physical. I mean, these guys are obviously, on paper, you've got to be one of the most physically fit athletes in any sport to be able to, be a top sidecar racer. While in Mini Sidecar racer, maybe not so much the case. It's still pretty solid, and they've still got to do a good job, and it's still fantastic. So it's great to see.
Yeah, I mean, although they don't have to be as physically inclined as a big sidecar racer, they have to be far more flexible. I mean, there's no room, as you see here of Green Street, there's no room, and the helmet was touching off the ground, but there's no room for them to fit on, especially both of them. So it's just trying to get your way around the person who is in control of the sidecar and just turn it over, and then get your whole body weight out to the left, just holding on to literally what is a metal bar. That is the only thing that's holding the passenger on. There's no seatbelts or anything like that, so it really is a test of their grip, and it's immense to see, and it's immense to see such a pretty healthy grid. I mean, 6 sidecars, we've seen less before, and it's great to see finally it's getting healthier and healthier.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's you get these guys who turning up, and obviously the bike is the best. You get the guys who are always kind of making up the numbers almost, not to be rude to them, but people like Vince Bailey, who we're seeing on screen at the moment, or Mark Park, Chris Impey as well. They're running at the back, unfortunately. And obviously the bike isn't the quickest, and it's a real shame, but they still turn up week on week on week because they're passionate about it, and it's so great to see the fact that they're still committed. And even if you've got Mick WILLIAMS running off and winning every race, which he so often does, these guys, they're still turning up and still putting the effort and still coming up, taking weekends out of their lives, and risking hurting themselves and going out on track and doing something that most people wouldn't even think about doing, because it's just crazy, and it's an amazing feat to do that. And these sidecars, the sidecar kind of little community within the FAB-Racing community, it's one of the more special ones, I think it's safe to say. Final lap of the race then for Mick WILLIAMS. He's been leading the whole race, funnily enough.
Yeah, I mean, Mick WILLIAMS never dominant showing, but we're on the last lap now. Mick WILLIAMS, although they're leading the race by what is right now a massive gap of 10 seconds, they put on a show for us, and they also must test themselves. They push as hard as they can. They drift the bike around the hairpins. It's so fun to see how they ride and how they go about their business. They're not one of these riders that lead and then keep a gap and then just kind of play it safe. They push each other and they push themselves and their motorcycle to the absolute limit, even though in reality they probably don't have to. Their best lap's a 57.7. The only person that's close is GREENSTREET with a 58.8. But we're on the last half of the lap now. 3 corners left for Mick WILLIAMS. They go around the hairpin, they might get a little drift going on, and then perfectly done there. Through the left, get the rider out as much as possible, scraping the knee slider on the ground that the passenger has. Then through the right, crack open the throttle, take the checker flag to take what is another dominant victory for Mick WILLIAMS. So far, a clean sweep across all 3 rounds. 9th race win of the season, and it's great to see. And they're still enjoying it, they're still celebrating. They're delighted with the race victory. GREENSTREET coming across in 2nd place, and KEATES coming across the line to take 3rd place and get a podium on the camouflage red motorcycle. Vince Bailey in 4th and Mark Parker in 5th, and Chris Impey rounding off the grid in 6th place. Great ride and great show from all the riders.
I can just tell how delighted that 666 machine was to get that podium, celebrating as they came across the line. I mean, it's 3rd place on a 6 sidecar grid, and it still means that much to them. It is tough. It is tough racing, and it's great to see. As the last bike comes around now with Chris Impey to come home, I'm sure they'll celebrate as well. I saw them celebrating at the end of race 2. Just finishing a sidecar race is a feat in itself. and it is absolutely fantastic to see. But Mick Williams, once again, the dominant force in Mini F1 sidecars. Absolutely brilliant stuff there